What's on the line for the Niners on Sunday? Before we hit Bet US here, what's on the line? What does a win on Sunday mean for the 49ers in your mind? It's not a division game, it's not a conference game, but what's actually on the table on Sunday in your mind?
I mean, it would be the biggest morale boost of all time. I mean, this team is shaky right now. They just lost to Arizona a week ago. They lost to the Rams. Only team that's lost to the Rams. If they lose this game, how confident are the Niners really? They'd be 3-4. The season wouldn't be over, but you're looking at a team that's just hasn't shown that they're any good. They're talented, but they haven't shown that they're any good. They beat the Chiefs. Now you're talking about maybe they're back, even though this is the worst version of the Chiefs that we've seen in a long time. Still a very good team, and they're a whole lot better than Arizona. So it would feel like, okay, the Niners have turned a corner. They've gotten serious. They figured something out. They found a way to win. They did it without McCaffrey. It would be a big deal. Only thing I'd caution is sometimes the Niners have a big win and they take a little victory lap, like they accomplish something. Like you still got to keep your head down and not beat your chest because you beat the Chiefs in October. That's what the Eagles did last year, right? They beat the Chiefs, and then Nick Sirianni started chirping at the Chiefs fans, and the whole season fell apart. So saving that, a win against the Chiefs would be a huge freaking deal.
I think a win against the Chiefs is absolutely essential. Why? Because in a lot of ways, the 49ers are living a lie. They're living a lie. They're, if we're the best team, no, you're not. The best team wins the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We're the best team in the league. No, you're not. Okay. They're living a lie. They need to dance. They need to strut. They need to have swagger. That's their whole entrance dance. They come out of their locker room with a strut, with a swagger, but it's all a lie. It's all a lie because in reality, in the biggest games against the best teams, with all the money on the table, they don't have that strut. They don't have that swagger. They're not styling and profiling.
That's true.
They've lost their swagger. They've lost their strut because they're still doing it, but it's all kind of a fake thing because they know that they're not the best. They're not the baddest team on the planet. The Chiefs are. They're not the best.
I think they
kind of
lost it. I think they kind of lost it on Christmas when the Ravens smacked them because ever since that game, I feel like they've been sort of surviving. They haven't been bullying teams the way that they used to. They bullied the Eagles last year. That was the last real, they came into that game wearing black like it was a funeral. It was one of the cooler wins I've seen in a long time. And that was like quintessential Kyle Shanahan 49ers. But we haven't seen that level of confidence from this particular team since then, I want to say.
Yeah, and I think it's vitally important to them. I don't think it's just like, it's just besides the point. All that really matters is blocking and tackling. No, their strut, their confidence, their swagger, it's a big part of their winning equation, and they've lost it. They've lost that swagger. They've lost that strut. They've lost that intimidation factor. They scare nobody. Without Dre Greenlaw, they're not nearly as menacing. They're not as violent. They used to intimidate people. They don't intimidate people. They get this win in convincing fashion on Sunday over the Chiefs. They will have regained their swagger, regained their strut. They will stop living a lie. Now they can kind of walk around like they're the biggest, baddest guy on the block. To me, I think it's all on the line on Sunday. I know people would say, it's not that much. It's not that big a deal. I disagree. I think their swagger is a big part of what makes the Niners, in this edition of the Niners. And I think they've lost it. And if they win this game, they will get it back.
I agree about the swagger. And I think you bring up a really good point. Like you think of Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams dancing and leading the team out as they're sort of like the tone setters of that particular personality. But on the field, it's so much Greenlaw because he's the most violent player on the team, even more than Deebo. It's Greenlaw. And so even though he's not the first one out of the tunnel, he's not the first one talking, losing him has made this team so much less scary. Yeah. And people don't talk about it enough. Fred Warner's great, but he's not scary like that.
Right. Oh, well, I mean, and then like in the Harbaugh era, the Niners had some bad guys, I mean, Aldon Smith was a bad man. Justin Smith was a bad man. Ahmad Brooks.
Ray McDonald.
Even in the secondary. Dante Whitner, Deshaun
Deshaun
Goldson.
Goldson.
These guys were
Not to mention
bad.
Navarro Bowman and
Yeah.
Patrick Willis. Like every single man on that defense would decapitate you.
Yeah, they had some super physical guys, even on offense. Delaney Walker and Vernon Davis and Gore and Mike Iupati and
Bruce Miller.
Anthony Davis, Bruce Miller. They had some tough guys.
Yep.
They had like a swagger, like an intimidation factor, and I thought they carried some of that into this regime. And Greenlaw was a big part of that. Without him, you see how much less intimidating they are. They got to win this game if they're going to get that swagger back, to get that confidence back. Okay, what would you say? Are you saying we kind of hit red zone earlier, but just to follow up on it, would you say that Brock is the number one reason the Niners have struggled to score touchdowns in the red zone, or are you just saying he's part of the equation?
No, I wouldn't say Brock's the number one reason. I think it's a team sport, and he owns it. I mean, he shares the responsibility along with Kyle Shanahan, along with Jordan Mason, Jake Brendel, Brandon Ayuk. Does Brandon Ayuk is he not a factor in the red zone at all? I don't understand. Like, you pay him $30 million a year, you don't even target him there. Is it not? He can't do anything for you there. What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
He has fewer touchdown catches this season than Jared Goff through 6 games. That can't happen.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I mean, I think Brock's got to be better in the red zone. I think he admits he needs to be better. I think overall they don't have a line that can move people, so they don't move anybody. So then it's about fooling people.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen them really come up with anything that's really innovative or would in any way fools anybody. So I think it's a combination of if you can't move people and you can't fool them, and you got a bunch of weapons that are older that aren't really quick, you don't have that quickness. I mean, that's really it. And I asked Shanahan about it last week. I'm like, why are you struggling in the red zone? Is it lack of quickness or this or that? And he's like, well, it's kind of all of it. And it is all of it. But I mean, every one of those factors has something to do with why they're struggling in the red zone.